A rogue Chinese physicist recently made contact with something drifting through our solar system, an interstellar object emitting signals that defy every known physical law, and the event has set in motion a quiet crisis unlike anything in human history. This discovery began with a man named Dr. Ling Wei, a controversial figure long known within China's scientific community for challenging established doctrines in quantum field dynamics and accusing Western scientific institutions of concealing breakthroughs that could reshape our understanding of the universe. By 2025, he had been pushed to the margins of mainstream research, a scientific exile, until his unexpected reappearance deep beneath the Swiss Alps inside the core of the CERN collider. Officially, he had been brought in as part of a covert Sino-European collaboration to advise on Project E, an experiment publicly described as a study into high-energy magnetic interactions. Privately, however, Ling had a far more radical objective. He believed the collider could generate specific electromagnetic frequencies capable of functioning as resonant beacons, signals strong enough to reach not just the farthest edge of space, but potentially whatever intelligence might exist beyond it. His peers dismissed the notion as theoretical nonsense. Yet he pushed forward, convinced that the collider could act as a window, a cosmic transmitter, an undiscovered mode of contact. On a seemingly ordinary morning in September 2025, under the guise of running routine calibrations, Ling quietly altered the collider's magnetic pulse cycle and embedded a hidden subroutine in the frequency modulators. This added an unauthorized layer to the test, a series of high-frequency electromagnetic bursts designed not for particle research, but to echo outward into the void. He called this covert layer the Deep Field Resonance Probe, his attempt to reach what he believed might be cosmic intelligence signatures. At precisely 3:14 Universal Time, the collider's detectors, buried 100 meters under the Alps, lit up with a signal that was unmistakably structured, rhythmic, and intelligent. Technicians assumed at first it had to be equipment malfunction, solar interference, or a power surge. But Ling immediately recognized the precision of the pattern. The frequency oscillated every 147 seconds, a timing that matched recent anomalous data from a newly detected interstellar object labeled 3I/Atlas. This object, discovered on July 1st, 2025 by the Atlas telescope in Chile, had already confounded astronomers with its immense size, its reverse comet tail pointing toward the sun rather than away from it, its unnatural brightening the farther it traveled from solar heat, and its strange rhythmic pulse. None of these behaviors aligned with any known natural object, and now it appeared to be responding directly to Ling's electromagnetic bursts. Instead of shutting down, he overrode protocols and kept the collider running for more than 11 minutes as the detectors streamed coherent return signals that varied in sync with the changes he introduced. When later interrogated, he explained that the symmetry of the waveform made its intelligence obvious. The experiment was immediately classified at the highest internal security level. Access logs were locked and communications frozen. But the signal had already been heard, and worse, it had answered us. As astronomers worldwide continued to study 3I/Atlas, it became clear that the object defied natural explanation. It measured roughly 11 kilometers across, a size unprecedented for an interstellar visitor, and behaved as though actively resisting solar forces or adjusting its own trajectory. Its pulsing electromagnetic signature was so regular it resembled a cosmic heartbeat, and the fact that its rhythm matched the signal recorded inside CERN was enough for Ling to conclude that this was not a passive rock, but an engineered probe. China's Purple Mountain Observatory confirmed the frequency correlation, bringing a subtle but significant shift in tone across global scientific channels. The object responded to the collider. The collider responded back. This was a two-way exchange. And with that realization came the understanding that humanity had inadvertently initiated the first known conversation with something not of Earth. But the true shock came when Ling decoded the data embedded in the 11 minutes of return signals he had secretly copied before CERN shut him out. Using private servers in Beijing, he converted the waveform into numerical sequences and found an unmistakable pattern of prime numbers: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, universally recognized as mathematical markers of intelligence. When visualized using advanced AI algorithms, the signal further revealed geometric forms tied to the golden ratio, phi, and even produced a three-dimensional spiral lattice that precisely matched the object's flight path through the solar system. The object, through mathematics, appeared to be identifying itself, mapping itself, and declaring its presence through universal constants. Independent laboratories in China verified his findings, though Western institutions grew increasingly silent. CERN's official position was that the event resulted from instrumental interference. Yet internal leaks suggested that subsequent collider runs failed to reproduce the anomaly. Meanwhile, Chinese quantum labs studying the object's 147-second pulse discovered that it aligned with Earth's natural Schumann resonance, implying that the object had locked onto Earth's electromagnetic frequency and was using it as a carrier signal. Stranger still, satellites orbiting Mars detected faint echoes of the same pulse pattern, forming a triangulated communication network linking Earth, Mars, and the object. It was not merely observing. It was organizing, synchronizing, establishing a communication architecture across the solar system. By November 2025, the scientific world had split in two. Western institutions quietly shut down public observatories and withheld new data, while China accelerated its research, forming Project Tianjin to monitor the object in real time and even declaring, in a restricted internal document, that 3I/Atlas was likely an artificial surveillance probe. Ling, however, was not reassured by the recognition. He claimed that humanity had not discovered the object, it had activated it. And when, in December 2025, the object altered its trajectory, slowing down and shifting course in a controlled manner that no natural body could achieve, heading inward toward Earth's orbital path, the situation escalated from curiosity to potential threat. China's radar installations detected sharper, targeted transmissions from the object that bounced off Earth satellites, leading Ling to believe it was scanning our technological infrastructure. He warned that this was not a flyby, but a rendezvous. By early 2026, Western silence had become absolute. Telescopes like Hubble, ALMA, and the James Webb Space Telescope stopped updating their public logs on the object. Internal instruction memos urged researchers not to release new data. Meanwhile, China retasked military satellites to watch the object and used its newly built quantum network to decode fresh pulses that suggested layered communication protocols. Ling continued leaking information online, including data showing two smaller objects entering the solar system from the same vector, broadcasting no signals of their own, as if they were listening nodes. His leaks spread across encrypted scientific circles, even as cybersecurity agents attempted to suppress them. Then in March 2026, he released a final message, a 24-minute video filmed in a dim underground lab at Tsinghua University. There, hollow-eyed and visibly shaken, he explained that 3I/Atlas was likely part of a vast monitoring network designed not to communicate, but to detect the rise of civilizations capable of manipulating quantum fields. CERN's collider had inadvertently crossed the threshold that triggered the system. The primes and the golden ratio were not greetings, they were diagnostics. The signal was not an introduction, it was a scan. His most chilling revelation was that 12 additional interstellar objects had entered the solar system over the previous 19 months, all following converging trajectories and displaying identical pulse gaps. They were not visitors. They were nodes, and Earth had become the center of their network. Humanity had not been contacted. It had been classified. Shortly after releasing his message, Ling disappeared from public view. His servers were seized, his team scattered, and all his communication channels removed. But the object continues its inward drift. The pulses continue. The silence from global agencies continues. And the world is left with a single lingering question. Did we make first contact, or did we trigger a response? Whatever the answer, The implication is the same. Earth has been noticed, perhaps evaluated, possibly cataloged. Whether the builders of these objects intend harm or simply observation remains unknown, but readiness, not fear, is the message echoed through Ling's vanished warnings. The sky is changing, the signals are persistent, and the next pulse may bring answers humanity is unprepared to face. Yet even as governments